Hey, what's up? I should have cleared my throat before I sat down. I just ate, so I also might. I feel like I always start burping during these, and it always interrupts my flow. Anyway, welcome back to episode 9. I really need to start remembering what these are called. Episode 9 of the Cellarcast. I had a pretty quiet week. You might have been able to tell because there was no video on Friday. See, it's happening already. Maybe I just eat too fast. I feel like I should. I don't know. I really like eating food. Here's my problem. I'm a really skinny guy, and that means that I don't have like a lot of like body mass to fuel. So I get full really fast because I just don't have a high like calorie demand. When I got my ID, I did a bunch of like the basically filled out a bunch of the information on like the state website before I went in, and they asked what weight. They asked what weight you're at, and I don't even think. I don't know if there's a scale in this house. I don't think so. So I just looked up like what's the average weight of a 6-foot American male, and it was like one. I took that number and I subtracted 10, so I got 150 pounds. I've kind of just been underweight all my life for my height because I've always been kind of tall. Anyway, yeah, no video on Friday. That is because I just wasn't feeling it. There's really no other reason. Nothing big, no event, nothing dramatic. I don't know, I just felt tired and not motivated. So I just sort of spent like 3 days stressing about making a video without doing anything. I guess I got the responsibility paralysis. Maybe there's a better term for it, but yeah. And then on Wednesday I was like, maybe I could just take this one off. Anyway, yeah, so I'm back. There will probably be a video next week, or I guess technically this week, when this goes out on Monday. I want to start off with comments from comment review of last episode. Losey left a really long comment, but there was not a huge. There wasn't a question, but I did like reading his thoughts. We do have a question from Earth Normal 702 Real. They ask, could you revisit the Silent Hill series? Just wondering. Yeah, so that's funny. So Earth Normal 702 Real is someone I know in real life. He's probably listening to this right now. And he has been watching my channel since I started. Actually, in November, it will be the 1-year anniversary of when I started uploading videos. But before that, in October, I started off. So this channel, or this project, the Cellar, started off as a blog that I would do, where I would every single day I would play a different retro game, and then basically write up a little blog post with screenshots and stuff like that about it, giving basically a short little analysis, a little review. It was a lot of fun, and then I kind of felt like, but it was like really kind of small scale. I sort of felt like parlaying it, branching it into more of a, I don't know, I just kind of wanted to make it a little bigger. I wanted to develop the project. So I made this YouTube channel, and I started out by actually doing live streaming, which was really fun. And so the idea was that every day in October I I would stream at about the same time, and I played a bunch of different games. I think I got 4 games done or something. It was actually a bunch of fun, and I might go back to doing it sometime soon. maybe for October again. That might be fun. And the first game that I ever played was Silent Hill. I'd never played Silent Hill before. I played the original PS1 release, and I liked it. I did like it. So basically what EN702R is asking is if I'm ever going to go back. And that's funny because I actually did want to when I finished Silent Hill 1, and it is something that I'm interested in continuing because my biggest... I enjoyed Silent Hill 1, but my biggest gripe with it was, honestly, they were fairly minor. I think overall it's a great game. My biggest things was that number one is I didn't understand why there were boss fights in the game. It seemed a little like contrived to me. Number two was kind of with the plot, and not that the plot was bad per se, but I felt like the concept was kind of underused, which is basically that like once you are at the end, you sort of understand the way that the town works and the nature of the town and what's going on. Pardon me. So basically there's like this, the whole town of Silent Hill is pervaded by this like evil demonic presence that kind of like latches on to, it focuses around a single person, and it basically personifies their suffering in order to bring, like, summon, oh, what was it? It's like summon some like demon, some like ancient demon or evil god or something like that. My memory's a little hazy, but that was the basic setup. And once you understand that, and you get to the end and you have the context of like, oh, okay, it was this like little girl whose mother was like this occult witch lady, and she got like horribly burned, and so the little girl did, and so the energy of the town is being focused onto her, and you find out all the stuff about her backstory, and it makes a lot of like, there's a lot of like symbolism that you understand by the kind of like in retrospect, where you're like, oh, okay, so when I was at the school, that was like her school, and this thing represented that when she was growing up. And it's neat, it's interesting, but my biggest problem with it was that it kind of came a little too late, and it came for a character that you really don't know. You only kind of like hear about, oh, what's her name? I can't remember the name of the little girl. I can't remember the name. Hang on. Silent Hill girl? No, not the movie. not the Alessa. Her name is Alessa. Alessa's the little girl with the burns, and so like you don't really have that much of a connection to Alessa, besides just sort of hearing about her. You don't even really see her until like literally the very end. And so I was kind of thinking on it, I was mulling it over, and I was like, okay, the concept is just too good. Like the idea is just too good. So what I wanted to see out of a sequel, or as a continuation of the series, is take that exact same idea, the same concept, except have the focus be on the main character, so that you actually get to like the idea. It just makes itself, you know. It's too good. You get to see this character's fears personified, their insecurities. You get to walk through them and literally see, pardon, literally see what they look like, and these monsters, and fight them, confront them. Like, the idea is just way too ripe for great storytelling and great character exploration. And from what I understand, Silent Hill 2 puts the focus onto Harry, who is back again after the first game, and that makes perfect sense, and I'm actually very interested to see how it goes. The only problem is playing the game itself. And by that I mean Konami really makes it difficult for me to want to pay them money. Because the original Silent Hill 2 has never been re-released except on the god-awful botched HD collection, which completely messes up both of those games. Completely messes them up. Because it was basically put together by the D team at Konami, who had no idea what made Silent Hill work in the first place, and they just made a bunch of changes to the biggest thing is the fog, alright? So the biggest thing that I remember, at least, is the fog. Because in Silent Hill 1, the idea was they wanted to have this big area that was... They wanted you to be able to actually walk around this town that was large in scope, and the idea of, like, being in the town is very, like, important to making that game feel kind of grounded in something. And, like, grounded in the horror, having all these places physically in the same place without a bunch of loading screens in between them. However, because it was on the PlayStation 1, it was way too big and intricate to properly, like, render. So the cheat that they used to get around it was they just covered everything in fog. They just drew the draw distance down so that basically anything outside of, like, 5 feet from your character is not rendered by the game to save on memory and processing power, and they just smacked fog in so that you can only see 5 feet in front of you to cover it up. And then once they did the... So that was like a technical limitation that led to this amazing, iconic part of the game, the atmosphere that the fog and the snow bring to that game. About, like, hearing something in the distance, seeing shadows moving in the fog, seeing, like, these horrific monsters jump out from nowhere. It's a huge part of what makes that game just, like, so compelling and so memorable for so many people. And then once the remake or the HD collection team got it, they were like, oh, well, we can put this on modern hardware, we can render all that, so let's just up the draw distance and take out the fog. And it just completely destroys the atmosphere. You're like, oh, this place was not meant to be seen, you know, in like a mile wide field of view, draw distance, whatever. And that is, like, literally the only way that you can play that game legally. So, which means I would have to emulate it. And I'm just not comfortable enough with PS2 emulators. I've used them before, and they're a little jank, and I'm not a huge fan. Maybe I could try it again. I ran Silent Hill 1 on a PS1 emulator, and that worked out fine, save for a couple little technical hiccups. But the PS1 is also a much older system. So I am interested in revisiting Silent Hill. I might even do, like, a video on it, because I'm sure that there's a bunch of interesting historical stuff that you can dig into. It's definitely something where, like, there was some serious passion and some serious creatives behind that series, and it was a very... It feels like a niche cult classic that became popular, that became big, like a big name. That's just, like, I don't know, it has that feeling to me, like, because gaming was so much smaller at that time when it released, I guess, like, the pond was smaller, so smaller fish doesn't seem as small, if that makes sense. But yeah, such an interesting... I used the Silent Hill 2 soundtrack in a couple things. I used it in my 480 video, the hidden Steam's hidden game video, because I just thought that like it's nice to use several songs from the same soundtrack because they kind of like they're all kind of built around the same tone or the same mood. So in the video, it gives it a lot of consistency. The music is really important when making videos to me. I usually try to be kind of thoughtful with like how I time the music and what tracks I choose. Sometimes it doesn't matter that much, but other times I really want to like make something interesting in editing with music. Yeah, so I am definitely interested in going back to Silent Hill 2. This comment kind of jogged my memory of it. And Silent Hill 3 and 4, I guess. Yeah, I could probably do all of them. I wouldn't mind. I did end up taking a break though. I didn't want to jump right into Silent Hill 2 after I finished the first game just because I wanted to show off a variety of games. What did I play that month? I played I did Silent Hill. I did I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. I did Death Wish for Blood. Oh, there's some Death Wish news. I want to bring that up. It's not even on my list, but I want to bring that up. And then I did Realms of the Haunting. All really interesting experiences. It was actually really great when you just... what was neat about streaming was that it just kind of like really incentivized me to go out and play a bunch of stuff that I'd never heard of before because it was just different and interesting and I wanted to do something new. That was really fun. I might get back into streaming for that same reason just because it really got me to play some interesting stuff. And like I still think about Realms of the Haunting all the time because it's such an interesting case of a game that like there's so many good elements and there's also a couple parts where they just kind of fumble it and almost like didn't understand what was so good about the game that they were making. It's really interesting. I won't tell you to like go watch my Realms of the Haunting streams because the quality's pretty bad and the audio's not good and I probably, it's in low res, but if you do decide to go back, you can kind of see my progression because it took me about a week to beat. You can definitely see my progression from wow, I'm really enjoying this to wow, I wish this was over. Well, please let me get this over with. Yeah, so that does it for that. I'm gonna move on to my notes. Just say Skyrim again. Oh, I should talk about Death Wish. Right, so Death Wish, one of my favorite games of all time is Blood from 1997. It's a classic first-person shooter. It's made with the Build engine, which is the same engine that Duke Nukem 3D was created with. I love the Build engine, even though it's incredibly janky and messed up. But Blood makes the most of it. Blood is basically like... it's basically like Duke Nukem, but like gothic. Gothic horror themed. Just an amazing game. Some of the best combat in any game I've ever played. Amazing atmosphere, super memorable. It sticks in my mind so much. And there is a mod for Blood called Death Wish, which is basically a 3-episode expansion that basically serves as a sequel to the original game. It's made by this guy named Blowtoid, and I streamed it because I'd heard it was amazing, and I'm like, well, I love Blood, and if this is as good as Blood, then why not? And Death Wish is probably better than Blood. It is most certainly better than Blood, actually. It's probably one of the best games I've ever played. In fact, it's the first game that I ever made a video on. Back in November, I made a video analyzing the level design of one of my favorite levels from it, I still stand by basically everything I said in that video. I think my analysis was alright, but the audio, the production value, and the editing is pretty primitive. If you're curious, you can go back and watch that. Yeah, so Death Wish is just amazing. It's been developed over the course of about 10 years, and it feels like something that's been iterated upon over the course of 10 years, which is just that, like, every single level, straight through, there's like 30 levels in this thing. They're all so good. Like, they're all so high quality, amazingly designed. Just something that, like, you can play and you're just, like, in awe of how well it's designed. The way it, like, guides the player around, all of these, like, details of the way that it reuses assets. There's no original assets in Death Wish. It's all existing assets from Blood, from that from the original game. But the way that it reuses them, I think the only original things are maybe like a couple sound bites that play. But other than that, like, graphically, everything is reused and recycled and remixed, and it's reused so well, it boggles my mind. I would strongly recommend that, one, you go play Blood, and it's on Steam actually, and it's called Blood Fresh Supply. I wonder how much it is. It's about $10. I don't know how often it goes on sale, but yeah, play it. It's a pretty decent port. You can play it through some source ports like NBlood. Go play Blood, it's amazing, and then go play Death Wish, because it's even better. And recently, Blowtoid has updated his Twitter with some, just a couple teases, a couple tastes of the upcoming episode 4, and that really made my day. Might make my year. He says he's hoping to get it out by at least 2022. He is an amazing level designer. He understands level design in a way that I could literally make a video breaking down every single level. I could make like a 30-minute, maybe not 30 minutes, maybe like 20 something minute video breaking down every single level in that mod, and just how good and how intricate it is. Highly recommended. Go check out Blowtoid, go check out Death Wish. Much love. Much love to him for putting in so much work. Back to Skyrim. Skyrim is getting another re-release. The Skyrim Anniversary Edition, marking the 10-year anniversary of Skyrim. Jesus. That is so crazy to think about. It's been 10 years since Skyrim came out. I was 9 years old when Skyrim came out. That's crazy. In 2011? Yeah, I was 9 years old. I remember driving with, like, my dad and my uncle and my brother. And we were driving through, like, San Francisco or something, and looking up, and there was on the side of a building, there was a giant poster for Skyrim, leading up to its release. And it was, like, the first time that I was like, whoa, this is like it was the first time I'd ever seen, like, a huge ad for a video game. It was like, wow, like when Skyrim came out, it was like, you could feel like the ground, you could feel the ground tremble when that game came out. It was like, it was such an event. no one, I don't know if no one had ever seen anything like it before. You might be able to say that there's a strong case. I remember like watching a Let's Play, and Skyrim Let's Play always. I don't know any Skyrim Let's Plays that like actually finished the game or got more than like 10 episodes in. Maybe there were some, but whenever I was curious about the game, I would always look and I'm like, oh, they didn't even beat it. Because it's just like, it's so infinite. But I remember watching this Let's Play of this dude playing it, and he basically gets through the opening sequence where you escape the execution, the dragon attacks, and you like go through a tunnel or something following this dude, and you come out and it's like, okay, go do the main quest or whatever you want. And I remember that like this guy doing the Let's Play, he was like he was walking around, and he just like stood on top of this rock, and he looked at like a mountain that was in the distance, and he had this moment where he just started laughing, and he was like, oh my, he's like, I can go there. He's just like, I see that mountain, I can climb that mountain, I can stand at the point that I'm looking at. And he just had this like giddiness, this just like excitement, this like this pure wonder and awe in his voice when he said it. And Skyrim, I remember being like the first game that I remember, at least, that really had that like you can go anywhere you want selling point. Maybe there were some before. Like I remember, pretty sure GTA games were like that, but Skyrim was so huge. Like it was massive, like never on that scale before. And I don't think there's flying in Skyrim, but there's like maneuvering is it's much more of like a trek to get places in that game. And it was just like, it was so, I've never even played the game. I've never played Skyrim. I've never played an Elder Scrolls game. But it was such like, they just had this really like magical feeling around it, like when it came out. I remember being like a kid, and just the way that people talked about it and playing it, and how just everywhere it was. And it wasn't like a trend or anything. It wasn't like, you see like Fortnite, and you're like, not to say that Fortnite's bad, I've never really played it, but you see Fortnite, you're like, okay, this is like a big trend. That's what you look at it, and you're like, this is a trend. It'll be popular. It will, eventually kind of die down, and it'll have its player base. Skyrim was like different. It was like, you look at it and you're like, this is just going to be like embedded into people's lives for forever. And I think that like that just cultural relevance. There's so many people who say that Skyrim's their favorite game of all time. There's so many people, and that like relevance that it has, that just like enduring feeling around it. I think the reason why there hasn't been another game in so long, there hasn't been another Elder Scrolls, it just keeps getting re-released because people just love it so much. Even though it's buggy as hell and it's all fucked up. I knew this guy. I used to be in when I was in a Boy Scout troop in Chicago. I had this friend, one of the freakiest, smartest guys I've ever known, and he would just make mods for games. And he told me about this mod he made for Skyrim that was like a randomizer mod, where he basically divided, I don't know how the hell he did this, he divided the game map, into a bunch of different sections, however many, and then he basically wrote this program that would randomly like scramble them every time you started a new game. So it was like a fresh, like different remixed experience every time. I just remember him telling me about that. I was like, dude, you're like way too smart. Yeah, he told me about this bot that he wrote for League of Legends. He this bot that he wrote to like play Garen. Garen's like the simplest, most no-brain character in League ever. And he was like, yeah, I programmed it so that it would just be like pixel perfect to avoid like skill shots and stuff. And that it would only take fights that had good chances of winning. And I'm like, how the fuck are you so smart? So I went to Skyrim's Wikipedia page because I was just doing a quick check on how many times it's been re-released. Remastered version. There was like, yeah, so there was 2016. Wait, no, hang on. There was a 2013 like special edition. It's all jumbled up. Hang on. How many can I just search up how many times has Skyrim been released? How many different times has Skyrim been released on Quora? Thus far, 6. I guess we're at 7 now. The first edition, yeah, that included all the DLCs. The follow-up of the Legendary Edition 2 years later, which included the 3 DLCs in one package and no separate costs. The same year it was released as Legendary Edition again in the Elder Scrolls Anthology. Skyrim Special Edition was released in 2016 on Xbone, PS4, and Windows. That version has been re-released twice for VR and Switch. Yay. And now it's getting an Anniversary Edition, which supposedly adds fishing. I'm surprised that fishing wasn't just in the original game. That seems strange to me. It seems like a no-brainer. Maybe they couldn't maybe it was too buggy. Oh yeah, so what makes this so Anniversary is, or what makes it so special, what the hell am I talking about? It's basically just stuffed with a bunch of mods that were like officially endorsed from the Creation Club store. So if you want to go play Skyrim with a bunch of officially sanctioned mods and fishing, you can. I guess, it's a good time to go play it. Elder Scrolls 6 is probably coming out in, I'm guessing, like maybe 2-3 years. That's my estimate. I just thought it was funny because I saw it. I'm like, they're making another one? They're doing it again? But of course, it makes sense to do it for the anniversary. And you know what? I'd rather have companies honor the anniversaries of their massive franchises, and even or especially the more under-recognized ones than not. They could be like Konami and just be total dickheads about it all the time. Never let you buy the original good version of Silent Hill. Let's move on. Now, if anyone is familiar with a special little film called Killer Bean, Killer Bean the Game is a third-person roguelike shooter. This reads the official Twitter page for Killer Bean, at @real_Killer Bean. Now it's up to you to take down the dreaded Shadow Beans. Are the beans in Killer Bean, are they coffee beans? I feel like they're coffee beans. I feel like they are, but like when I think of beans, I never really think of coffee beans. I usually think of like pinto. I think of the black beans. I think of red beans. So like I don't know where I was going for that. I was just thinking about what kind of beans they were. Um, yeah, so it's a third-person roguelike shooter. There's a screenshot of it. It's made in Unity, and it looks not terrible from a single screenshot. It actually looks all right. Like, it's mildly stylized. Let's check out the Killer Bean. Yeah, let's check out the Steam page. It's somewhat stylized. It's going for like a half realistic look with a bit of it's hard to describe, but a bit of like simplified shapes. It actually looks pretty good just from screenshots. Um, let's see. After being betrayed by the Shadow Agency and learning the truth about their evil ways, Killer Bean has made it his life goal to destroy them. Yet this is easier said than done, as Killer Bean will face armies of enemies and mysterious Shadow Beans who are better trained and more powerful than him. This is a third-person roguelike shooter. Every time you start a new single-player campaign, everything changes. The locations change, the missions change, the characters change, the bosses change, and most of all, the story changes. It's kind of interesting. Characters who you trusted before may turn against you. Oh, it's like Blade Runner. It's like the Blade Runner point-and-click game. Enemies who tried to kill you may end up helping you. Simple missions can turn into deadly traps. No two campaigns are the same. Honestly, that sounds pretty interesting. That usually roguelikes are purely gameplay with little sprinkles of story, so it's actually kind of interesting. What I'm anticipating is that it'll probably be like maybe a shorter, like 2-hour game that has like 10 hours worth of content. Maybe that's a little generous, but you know that kind of like you have to replay it to check out all the different stuff. Hopefully, you know, they balance out how much variety there is and how likely you are to get certain I guess missions or story beats or stuff like that. It does sound cool. It actually does remind me a lot of the Blade Runner game. If you don't know, the Blade Runner, when did that game come out? Blade Runner game, 1997. Great year for games. So basically, the Blade Runner from 97, it's like a point and click adventure mystery game. And the idea is that it's not like an adaptation of Blade Runner, but it takes place in the same world. And the main character is also a detective, just like in Blade Runner. He's still a detective, but the idea is that there's a case that you have to solve, but the details change every time you play. So, like, sometimes this person is a robot. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes this person is the murderer. And there's actually a ton of variety to exactly what can happen and all the different twists. And this looks like it's going in kind of a similar direction, but with a roguelike shooter. So, you know, you do have to nail some, you know, the key parts of the gameplay in order to make it work. It has to feel good to control. The shooting has to be good, you know, hopefully, like, you know, lots of interesting different weapons, what can you see on the Steam page? There's a rocket launcher. He's got the twin guns. Looks like he's basically just using the twin pistols that he uses in the movie. Such as vehicles, totally procedurally generated missions and stories, packed with plot twists and surprises. Level up skill trees for your style of play. Stealth, melee combat, parkour, or guns blazing. And in at least one of these pictures you can see, or two of them, he's like diving. He's like diving to the side. That might be like some neat like movement stuff. Different factions of enemies who all dislike each other. That's kind of interesting. Kind of reminds me of like the Doom infighting, which is always fun. Like getting enemies to like kill each other for you. Ragdolls and physics combat. Main characters that roam the map. Huh. I wonder if it's like interconnected or something like that. Design your own shadow beans that will hunt down Killer Bean. Huh. And create your own missions. Honestly, like, if everything that's like on the Steam page is true, this game probably actually sounds like pretty cool. Like, as long as it releases for like a reasonable price and has like solid mechanics. Actually, this could be like a pretty decent game. Like, this sounds like a good idea. It sounds pretty good. I was initially, when I read, oh, they're making a Killer Bean game, I was like, okay, this is a big meme, a big meme bean, but it might be legit. It could be both, though. You can make a legit meme game. Next up. This one comes from PC Gamer. Atari denies it is owned by Soulja Boy. So basically, what it looks like is Soulja Boy has signed a deal with Atari? Or has he? Did they purchase his company? So here's where it begins. Rapper Soulja Boy, who honestly by now is a Soulja Man. It's been so long. Posted some videos on Twitter, I think. There's a YouTube link, but he probably posted this on Twitter, saying, quote, "I own Atari, the first rapper to ever own a video game company." And he also says that Atari is going to buy the Soulja Boy console company for $140 million. He says, I don't know how that works. Is he going to buy Atari and then buy his own company? And pay himself? So, he says, I signed 2 deals with Atari. We're going to take it to the next level. Know what I'm saying? Adding on, I just signed Tom Hanks' son, Chet Hanks. He got some fire music coming out. Atari later came out and said, we know that the CEO of Atari is a dream job. No, it's not. But that honor belongs to Wade Rosen. Soulja Boy then posted an article on Twitter repeating the claim that he's the first rapper to own a games company. The article ends off by saying, what exactly is going on here is as clear as mud. Though if one thing seems certain, it's that Soulja Boy doesn't actually own Atari. I've reached out to Atari to ask about the nature of its deals with Soulja Boy. The company simply pointed me towards Atari's recent tweet regarding the matter, of which is just, he does not own the company. Yeah, they have not tweeted out anything else regarding this. Just a bit of bizarreness. These are 2 very strange entities. Because Soulja Boy and Atari are actually quite similar when you think about it, in that at one point they were on top of the world and were the most relevant name in the business. And now basically barely exist except to make fun of. I am reminded again that Blood was created by Monolith Studios, who is owned by Atari, and they will never do anything with it ever again because Blood 2 sucked. And even though you could make an amazing series out of the framework of the first game, they're never going to do anything with it because Atari doesn't do anything besides sometimes re-release their old games. I literally don't know how would they make money. I am almost convinced that it's like a money laundering scheme because I just don't know what they do. What have they done in the last 5 years? Atari Games, so much more than video games, reads their website. Why is it called Atari Games then? So what do they do? Oh no. I see a tab called Atari Casino. Oh no. Atari... What the fuck? Wait, what the... Whoa. What is... Wait, go back to that. The website just keeps scrolling. I can't... I have to wait for it to come back around. I can't control... What is Atari Token? What the hell is Atari Token? What is Atari Token? What the fuck? I'm on AtariChain.com. Atari Token. Atari Token is a decentralized cryptocurrency that was created to become the token of reference for the interactive entertainment current industry. What the fuck is this? The goal of the Atari Token is to be used as widely as possible across the interactive entertainment industry. This is a long-term project with amazing ambitions, and we are glad to share our key achievements and upcoming milestones with you. You will find below blah 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 blah. An ERC20 token that is based on Ethereum. This is the official contact address of the Atari Token, aka its abbreviation is ATRI. What the fuck? Atari... Our goal is to have the Atari Token... Yeah. Allowing developers and publishers new options for the exploitation of their products. It says exploitation. New options for the exploitation of their products? Integration of smart contracts, protection of in-game assets, and so much more. What is this? What is this? Atari creates line of digital sneakers. What the fuck is this? From Fox 5, they made NFT sneakers. They made some JPEG sneakers that are NFTs. Who is running this company? Our partners. Oh, it's just a bunch of crypto people. And oh man, all these logos are crunched. Why are they so low res? This looks like really bitcoinexchange.com. What the hell is this? FAQ. Let's look at the FAQ. What is the Atari Token? Cryptocurrency built using the Ethereum protocol and decentralized ledger technology. Eventually, we envision the Atari Token being available worldwide as a means of payment. Dude, imagine paying off your house in an Atari Token. Imagine. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. How do I find local Atari Token enthusiasts and traders? I don't... Dude, if you could find a local Atari Token enthusiast... local... Oh my god. How many people... What can I do with the Atari token? Will immediately be available as a medium of exchange within the Atari network for various Atari goods and services, including those of Atari partners. They used the word Atari 1, 2, 3, 4 times in one sentence. This token will also be usable within Atari Universe games. How is Atari token funded? By the shareholders of Atari chain. Where can I buy them? It's just, I don't know if it's crypto. You know what it is. What is the Atari token? There are two questions that are, what is the Atari token? And they both have different answers. So the first one was just like, this is the technology. The second one is, at the moment, users can purchase Atari tokens through two trusted sources, and the first one is a bit.ly link, and the second one goes to bitcoin.com. Who is the Atari token team? Can you divide... Dude, this is so... There's two of the same questions. Can you divide the Atari token into smaller units, such as Satoshis for Bitcoin? And there's two different answers. There's literally two different answers, but it's like two drafts. So the first one is, simply said, you can't divide the Atari token into smaller units. 1 unit of the Atari token is logically equivalent to 1 Satoshi for Bitcoin. We believe that this is more convenient for the users, removing the need for them to independently divide the token into fractions. It's important to remember that a token's price doesn't dictate its value. Second one, 1 unit of the Atari token is logically equivalent to the 1 Satoshi. In other words, you can't divide the Atari token in smaller units. It's just like the first draft of that other answer. We believe this is more convenient for the users than to set the token's value to X number and then have users possess some small fraction of it. How will it be created? Yeah, the blockchain, Atari chain, sorry. Where can I buy it? Wait, how many, have there already been? Yeah, why do they repeat questions? How do I buy the Atari token? Will there be an Atari token wallet? Yes! Oh, thank God. What's the overall trend in crypto? Oh, wow, it's good. Haha, it will continue to grow and change the world. It's totally not going to get legislated by every fucking country. Why is the Atari token launching so much later than announced? Atari had granted an exclusive license agreement with Infinity Networks and was a minority partner. The INL project was not progressing at a rate satisfactory for Atari. Took them till 2020 to get the rights back. Is there a version of the wallet for... What's the difference between Atari token and Bitcoin? Bitcoin's use is limited to storing monetary values like gold and transferring them between users in a decentralized manner. The Atari token, on the other hand, can store complex information and be used within smart contracts. I guess they mean it's like NFTs? This means players will be able to trade their in-game resources, like gold and diamonds, for tokens or real-world money. Oh, this is just a money laundering device. Oh my God, could you imagine there's like a bug that lets you get infinite like in-game gold and you just turn it all into fucking Atari coin? And then you... Or real-world money. Yeah, and then you get to just transfer. Whoa. Developers will also be empowered to monetize their creations as smart contracts allow us to trace every piece of intellectual property and compensate authors accordingly. I have no idea how that works. This stops in-game items from being reproduced or copied, conserving their value. How can we determine the number Atari token in circulation? English much? That number cannot be determined until after the public sale. About cryptocurrencies. This is so... I'm just learning about this. General questions. How can I get Atari swag? What if there is a critical vulnerability in the protocol? Our protocol has the highest safety procedures. Dude, if I trust anything with my billions of crypto, it's Atari. The Atari ecosystem. How does this all put together? It's literally just Atari games. Nobody knows. What the fuck is this? I'm like losing my mind looking at this website. I'm losing my mind. It's just they're all from this Atari CEO. When did this guy? What is this name? What is his name? Fred Chena? It's Chesnais. Is he French? Something? Yeah, it looks like he's on a bunch of French news stuff. I literally don't even know where to start. I literally don't even know where to start. When did this begin? When? I have to know more. Let's go to the earliest news. Atari CEO and launching crypto token. Blockchain gaming has tremendous potential. Wait, is that it? Oh, it's a video? I don't want to watch a video on Yahoo Finance. Atari CEO explains why the gaming icon is betting big on crypto. Frédéric Chenois, CEO of Atari Group, is throwing the 80s gaming brand behind a new Atari token and a bevy of crypto-infused games. Remember that Atari has just a... Atari probably makes all their money right now off of, like, casino games, just judging from their website. Do we have any quotes? Okay, according to Frédéric Chenois, Atari Group CEO, this pivot into crypto is largely informed by his own personal belief. Oh no, he came in and he was like, guys, crypto. I'm a strong believer in blockchain. He's just a fucking crypto nut who got into Atari. No. Oh no. Do you guys want to know? Do you guys want to know when they announced the Atari token? The official tweet announcing the Atari token project was released on 9:52 a.m. 2020, September 11th. They announced it on 9/11. It's the 9/11 of cryptocurrency. No. Oh, what were the replies to this? Oh no, just a bunch of people who are like, ooh, new crypto dropped. It got 10 retweets, 1 quote tweet, and 28 likes. The quote tweet has since been deleted. Holy cannoli, dude. Holy shit. Whoa. Okay. Chenois. Served as the CEO and chairman of the board since 2013, but it's his second stint with Atari. He was previously COO and CFO of Atari SA, formerly Infogrames, from 2001 to 2004, then CEO of Atari Interactive from 2004 to 2007. He also sees value in harnessing a mature, nostalgic fan base that has the resources to embrace crypto-powered gaming. Oh no. He says, we have some awareness, so it's easier. We have to spend less marketing. That's one thing. Second, everyone knows the brand in gaming. It's more narrow. And 3, we are able to attract a slightly older crowd of people to blockchain. We play right into the demographics because the audience is more like 28 to 30 plus. So I think this is where the whales are. He called them whales. Oh my god. I've never seen someone just be such a businessman. I've never seen someone be so transparently like, yeah, I'm here to exploit the 28 to 30 plus age demographic who knows what crypto is and knows what cryptocurrency. Well, they know what Atari is. They're into gambling and they have a lot of expendable income to spend on our crypto. Holy crap. This is too much for my head. Ah. There is yet another prong to the current Atari revival. Atari hotels? When did I not hear about this? What the fuck are Atari hotels? What? What are Atari hotels? AtariHotels.com? How many websites do they have? What is going on at Atari? Stay and Play, a modern hospitality experience inspired by gaming culture. I don't know if I want that. Fueled by imagination and built by our desire to play, Atari Hotels celebrates the past while defining the future. Dude, I need to go make a video staying at the Atari Hotel. I need to do this. Membership. Where are these? So where are they? News. This article was in like, yeah, it was last year. Oh, it's months ago, December 31st, 2020. That they talked about the thing. So where is this? Why are they talking about new Space Jam? LeBron James and Space Jam look to create a new sneaker legacy. What are these like? Why? These are just like, this is like gaming news. And Space Jam? There's a story about the Steam Deck? I'm so confused why this is on the website. 100 Thieves Gucci launch. This is under a section called Industry News. I'm so confused. I'm so in awe. Atari Hotels locations. I have to know. The first, are they not here yet? It just says Silicon Valley. What's the plan? Dude, I have to go stay at one of these fucking things. I have to. Upcoming Las Vegas and Phoenix locations. Holy shit. Dude, it looks like the Atari logo. The building is made to look like the Atari logo. Is there any news? Scheduled to open in Las Vegas in 2022. We got a couple months, guys. We got a couple months. I could get to Las Vegas. I'm not too far away from it. Holy crap. Okay. 100%. When those things open, I don't care how much. I have a family member who I'm pretty sure is gonna die soon, and I'm totally spending some of their inheritance money on getting a room at the Atari Hotel. Jesus Christ. Well, that's been a diversion. I just wanted to see what Atari was up to. I guess they're getting into cryptocurrency and the hotel business. Atari has partnered with the digital fashion house The Fabricant to create Pluriform Dress. What? Virtual NFTs. A virtual fashion. I don't even know what the hell's going on anymore. Anyway, what was I gonna talk about? Anyway, they're not owned by Soulja Boy, but honestly, at this point, didn't Soulja Boy make his own crypto, or am I just like dreaming that while I'm awake? Was there a Soulja coin? Oh, it totally was. Soulja coin. SouljaCoin.cash, the Soulja Coin community webpage. Maybe this was just, maybe that's how they met. I feel broken. I feel busted. I feel split open by Atari. Alright, this one comes to us from The Verge. Roblox is struggling to moderate recreations of mass shootings. Let me read that one more time. Roblox is struggling to moderate recreations of mass shootings. So, for over a year, Anti-Defamation League researcher Daniel Kelly has been finding recreations of a horrific mass shooting on Roblox, and every time he looks, he says he finds more. Kelly told The Verge it's happened 3 times, first in January 2020, then again in May 2021. The most recent incident came on August 13th as he was preparing a presentation on how to report offending content. I would like one time, Kelly said on Twitter, to search for Christ Church on Roblox and not find a real recreation of the 2019 Christchurch mosque shooting on a game platform aimed at very young children. Holy shit. I hope you understand that I'm not laughing at the event. I'm really not. I'm laughing at the fact that this is a problem in the first place. And I don't take any joy in it, although I am laughing. I'm not happy about it. It's just kind of like... it's just kind of like... You know that scene in, like, Saving Private Ryan, I think it is, where, like, they all know that they're probably gonna die in the next battle, and this one guy just starts telling, like, stories about, like, him doing stupid stuff with his friends, and everyone just starts laughing, and, like, you want to cry because you're like, oh... That's how I feel. The Verge confirmed Kelly's finding, locating 2 different Roblox experiences focused on the shooting through a simple text search for Christ Church. Both rooms had logged more than 200 visits. Roblox proactively monitors for terrorist content. I guess they seem to have slipped through. Yeah, so, like, they banned it immediately. Like, they don't tolerate it. It's not, like, a problem with Roblox. It's not a problem with the company. Like, they're on top of it. They care. They don't want it there. Stuff just kind of slips through sometimes. It's just, like, it's a problem with human beings. Yeah, so references to the Christchurch shooting are particularly difficult to block through automatic text searches because a catch-all filter would also block references to the city, which is it's pretty tricky. In this case, our proactive detection includes human review to balance allowing references to the geographic location, which is New Zealand's largest city, but not uses that violate our policies. Part of the issue stems from Roblox's sheer size, the result of rapid and unprecedented growth. It boasts over 40 million daily users. Jeez Louise. Resulting in a flood of user-generated rooms too massive to manually scan. Yeah. The distributed structure of the game, which relies on users generating their own scenarios and spaces, makes it particularly challenging to monitor. I always thought Roblox was cool, honestly. It definitely has, like, a reputation for being, like, a kiddie game or whatever, and, like, yeah, it is, but there's, like, a reason for that, and it's because, it's the same reason that Minecraft excites kids, because, like, it's very simple presentation, sort of. I don't know, I've seen Roblox stuff that is just way, like, you please hire a UI designer. It's like, it's like kind of got like a Lego aesthetic almost, especially the characters, and it's entirely centered around creativity, making your own things, sharing it with other people, seeing other people's creations, multiplayer stuff, playing games with your friends, Like, there's no like, it's very clear why Roblox is so popular. Like, it's really cool. If someone told you that there's a game where you can, it's basically a big sandbox where you can create games inside of it, and then you can have a character throughout all of these different games that you basically like connect to, you'd be like, that sounds really cool. But as soon as it becomes mostly kids, everyone's like, Roblox. Yeah, it's yeah, it's kind of just, it is, there is a level to it where it's quite disturbing. Um, there's this really weird, I don't know, like growing up, I've met like a handful of people where you can tell that like, and it's always like kids, which makes it weird. But like you can tell that like they don't really take anything seriously. Like they're too young. Like they're old enough to understand being edgy, but they're not old enough or mature enough, I should say, to understand like what's over the line and what's serious. And kids can be actually like, kids in that spot can just be like the actual worst. They can just be like the actual most evil little fuckers you've ever met, because they have like absolutely no morality. They just think everything is like a joke and they can't take anything seriously. It's also kind of like, I think, a weird symptom of a lot of internet culture where everything is so, it's so ironic. It's, everything is so overrun by irony that genuinely honestly liking something, or like a genuine emotion, is like, makes people uncomfortable. That's kind of like the funny thing about irony, is that like it sort of started, I feel, at least, you know, and you think of it in like the internet irony, it started as like a response to basically a way to satire or poke fun at people who, well, you know, a lot of things, just a lot of things in society that either took themselves too seriously, or, you know, people thought were worthy of mockery, or was passe, stuff like that. And then what irony does is eventually it kind of provides insecure people, it can be used by insecure people as kind of like a shield to not display their true selves to other people. Because like, you know, some people, they feel insecure and they just clamp up and they're wallflowers because they don't want to share anything. Some people like fall in with popular things and they're overly, I guess, critical. They get set off by people who are genuine because it makes them, it triggers their insecurity. And then I think that there's other people, there's a lot of ways that it can manifest, but I think one of the ways is you literally never, it's just sort of like, the irony is just a different form of like that latter example. You just never want to show your true self. And it's really devious because it comes under the guise of humor. So it's another way that you can get social points, so to speak. Like you can it comes with this like guise that you're like pushing against the system, or you're pushing against the mainstream of like, look how edgy I am. So you don't like seem insecure, because it's like, oh well, who would do that if they weren't totally confident in themselves? And it turns out a lot of people. Because it's like a way, they're not even like, I guarantee you that the people making these like Christchurch shooting 9/11 recreations in Roblox, they're not doing it out of like, I don't even think they're really thinking about what they're doing. They're just thinking like, how do I do something? Like, wouldn't it be crazy? They're imagining the reaction that people, they're creating something. It's like kind of like a unfortunate creative process, because they're thinking about the premise of the idea is, how are people going to react to this? Oh my god, people are going to be so offended. They're going to be so offended. Yeah, I'm going to feel good about that. Well, it's not quite that simple. It's like, people are going to be offended. I'm going to get a rise out of people. I'm going to get attention, and I'm going to be able to, I don't care about what you think. I don't care about common standards of decency or good taste. They get to feel like really badass, and then from the outside, you just look like an asshole. You look like an asshole. It's just really interesting, kind of like what the internet, the internet's infinite swirl does to people. Because it also provides a way, there's like a bigger, like, you can't just do that in real life, right? You can't just like make a recreation of the Christchurch shooting in like a Lego set and like put it out on like for like a school project or something. People are gonna be like, what the fuck? You might even get, you'll get punished. You might even get like beat up. Because people are not cool with that. But the internet adds this layer of anonymity. I think Mike Tyson said one time that like the internet made people too comfortable with saying stupid stuff and not getting punched in the face for it, or something like that. This Christchurch thing, it's not the end of the world that this is happening in Roblox, and they're taking care of it, and eventually it's going to settle down. But it will, it's just kind of a symptom, right? It's a symptom of what the internet does to us, and not having like, I don't think the internet makes people insecure. It can make people insecure, I shouldn't say that. But a lot of people go onto the internet with existing insecurities, and it kind of accelerates them, The internet's a really dangerous tool in certain ways, because you can use it responsibly if you have like both your feet on the ground and you're not like a weird crazy person. But it's really, how many people are 100% like that. I'm not 100% like that. Although I've never made a recreation of a mass shooting in a video game before. So it's really easy to just, get sucked into some weird, crazy stuff. I got a chance to play the Quake Remaster. We were talking a little bit about it last time, and I was really anticipating that they would open QuakeCon with the announcement, but no, they announced it a day beforehand, and it was like, okay, all right, cool. So yeah, basically Quake got remastered. If I can skim over. Oh, did I close out the details? Quake Remaster. So this is just a wonderful package. It is. Oh, please, come on, give me the bullet points. Give me the bullet points. Where are the bullet points? Why can't I find? And maybe if I go check the actual Steam version, Community Hub, posts, release notes, yes. Enhanced graphics, so there's new lighting, new models, updated maps. So actually some of the maps, I think E2M6 is one in particular. Some of the maps in the original game actually had to be cut or parts of them had to be shaved off because of the memory limit that they were working with at the time, and namely E2M6, the opening of that level, which had been axed in the original version, now been restored. Really neat. Dynamic shadow system, and I have to say, the game looks really nice. Like, it's still, you can tell it's from 1997, but the new models, the new lighting, and the shadows, it looks really nice. It's a very nice way to play the game. The 2 retail expansion packs, Scourge of Armagon and Dissolution of Eternity. Those sound like Iron Maiden albums. They're now just in the main game. And there's also been another expansion pack, Dimension of the Past, has also been upgraded. Upgraded. I don't know exactly what upgraded means. And included. It includes the soundtrack. If you don't know, Quake's soundtrack was done by Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails. It's a really memorable, special part of the game. And now it just comes with it. And the Scourge of Armagon and Dissolution of Eternity also have their soundtracks included. A brand new episode. I was expecting them. This is what the leak was talking about. Machine Games. I'm tripping over my words. I'm so excited. Machine Games contributions to the remaster. I thought it was just going to be a few levels, like they did with Doom 64. Although that did Machine Games do the new levels for Doom 64? But no, it's an entirely new episode. I haven't played it yet. I've actually been replaying the original. I'm almost done with it. I'm on like the last or second to last level. And yeah, so it's called Dimension of the Machine by Machine Games. And I've just seen some screenshots from it. It looks gorgeous. It looks like it was actually built to take advantage of all of the new lighting effects. There's like this outdoor area with a windmill. Oh my god, it looks great. It has a new add-ons menu with some officially sanctioned add-ons. Namely, the only one right now is Quake 64, which is just the Nintendo 64 port of Quake, which you can play in its low-res scanline glory. And it has an alternate soundtrack by Aubrey Hodges, who you might know from doing the soundtrack for Doom 64, which is a really neat, I would call it like a much more atmospheric, kind of spooky soundtrack compared to the original Doom, which really goes into like the metal rock influences. Aubrey Hodges is great work. Comes with split screen multiplayer. This is really nice. This is actually this is a feature where you can tell that like they really cared. It's done by Night Dive, so I'm not surprised, because Night Dive does great remasters of classic games. So split screen multiplayer, which is just such a nice thing to include in a modern game or a modern remaster. You can play split screen so you can do deathmatch and co-op, so you can play through the game with a friend, or you can deathmatch with them. And split screen, and AI bots are also available in deathmatch mode. Very nice. It has crossplay. It's actually being released across, let's see, it's on PC, it's on Xbone, I think, Switch, and PS4. So it's basically being released on every platform right now. And there's actually a limited time physical release. You can buy a physical copy of Quake. That is so crazy. In 2021, you can buy a physical copy of Quake. That is so... I love that. And it's got crossplay, so you can deathmatch with other people on if your friends have different consoles. You can just being able to play the original Quake on console is really neat. That's a really cool thing. Obviously, like, purists are gonna say that it's best played on PC, and I might even agree with that. I don't know. I've never played it on console. But just the option and the more people being able to play this game is great. So it's just also a bunch of new languages translated. English, French, Italian, Spanish, German, and Russian. I actually saw from someone on Twitter that Quake has always been huge in Russia, and fortunately it's a game that you don't really need to read to understand. But now it's just nice to have the Russian translation for that community. So if you own the game on Steam, you can literally, there's an update for it, and you can literally just update the game to the new version, and you have the option to play the original, which I would not recommend. I would recommend playing it through a source port if you're going to do that, but having this nice, polished, remastered version, just open it up, hit play, don't have to go through source ports, just makes it easier, super convenient. And you also have the option to, you get all the options that I wanted, ways to change the graphics to, change the graphics to, like, you know, old stuff, the original look. I am just super happy with the remaster. I don't even like Quake that much, but I've been having a decent time with it again. The single player is definitely, like, not the main focus. You can feel it. It's got some parts that I don't really like. Not a huge fan of the weapons or the enemies. But the movement, I forgot how good the movement in Quake feels. And it just makes me want Quake back. It makes me want another Quake game. I want them to Doom 2016 Quake. Hopefully it's somewhere in the plans. It would make my day, might make my year. Yeah, so I would totally recommend checking it out if you're at all curious in classic shooters. Quake is a classic. Maybe you can just not even play the campaign, just play deathmatch online, because there's probably people on there right now. Yeah, definitely go check that out. Super neat. Always love to see a great classic game revitalized with so much care put into it that really it deserves. It's so nice to see all of these little touches and details and quality of life changes and being able to the DLC, the expansions being included for free, the original, like getting the option to play the original. Just a classic getting what it deserves, what it's due, which unfortunately you don't see enough of in this day and age, where either they don't get anything or they are just kind of dumped out there with no love. Night Dive does a great job, though. I am looking forward to the System Shock remake that they're doing. I actually love the original System Shock. Some people have a really hard time getting into that game, but I played the remastered version, enhanced, the enhanced edition, and honestly, I'm able to get over the controls and the weird way that game is, like, laid out control-wise. It controls like a flight simulator. I was able to get over that, and I actually ended up really enjoying that aspect of the game. But I'm just a crazy person. And I am looking forward to the remaster. Just remake. It's a full remake. That is Night Dive, right? System. Because System Shock 2... Remastered, please. Remake, okay. Because System Shock 2 gets all the love, you know? Because, you know, it's got a lot of classic Shodan lines and all that. And it's easier to play. But System Shock I still think it's a great game, the original. Legitimately solid horror experience. If you can just let yourself get into it, you can get over the controls and just kind of like immerse yourself into the world, listen to the soundtrack. It's definitely a worthwhile experience. Although I would absolutely, if you can get your hands on it, play the enhanced edition. That basically allows you, if you don't know, System Shock, the way the original game controlled is, it's a first-person game, but you have this whole interface, and you have a free mouse that you click on stuff to, like, aim weapons, interact with the environment, interact with your heads-up display, and then in order to turn, you move with the arrow keys by default, and then if you turn, you have to drag your mouse to the side of the screen and like click and hold, and it's super bad feeling. It's super jacked up. The enhanced edition basically adds a little thing where you can rebind the controls and all that, and then you can hit E to toggle between free mouse and mouse look, which feels a lot better to me, because it was actually pretty cool as like a horror thing. It's kind of like the thing that people talk about with Silent Hill, where like or the original Resident Evil, where the kind of slow controls enhance the horror experience. So like, you know, you're playing System Shock and you have to like reload your gun, or you have to do this or that in the middle of like there's an enemy coming up to you, and you have to like toggle into free mouse, like click on something in your menu and da-da-da-da. Then you go back to mouse look so you can shoot them or you can hit them, and you gotta like be moving around and strafing, and really good. I got a lot of love in my heart for System Shock 1. My voice is getting a little tired, and about an hour and a half. We definitely went some places today. We definitely went some places. Fucking Atari coin. Dude, what the hell happened to Atari? Dude, my head is hurting thinking of that. Oh. Yeah, I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to call it an episode. If you have any... Thank you for watching, if you've been... Or listening up to this point, if you've been listening up to this point. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Love to answer them and talk to you guys. I will see you next time. Goodbye.